the one that I regret the most is my parents set me up. And I thought that'd be the best because my mom knows me really well.
Yeah. Welcome, beautiful people, to the Lost in Local podcast. We're Adam
and Hannah,
two Korean citizens who grew up abroad and now figuring out life in Korea.
Join us as we share stories and our honest perspective on what it means to be lost and local.
Okay, so this is our part 2 to the dating podcast. We thought about doing just one, but we realized it was going to be a little bit long.
It was like 2.5 hours long.
I don't think the second podcast will be 2 hours or even an hour, but I'll edit it. It was really fun to do. And thank you for tuning in, and let's just jump right into it without further ado.
Yep.
Peace. This is going to be a dicey one. Have you seen race and gender affect dating?
In Korea, I'm not petite, but in the States, I'm considered petite. And so as a petite woman who looks pretty young for my age, because I don't know why, but in the States, everyone thinks I'm in high school.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I think it's because we're Asian, too.
Yeah, so they're not familiar with Asian faces. Yeah, so I think for me, I always felt like some white guys were like kind of patronizing towards me. And I didn't, it was a very thin line between being a gentleman, chivalrous, versus like kind of being patronizing. And I was always kind of, I don't know, like defensive again. That's my word for, that's the word that represents my life. But I was very like cautious, and I also had a few encounters with guys who definitely had yellow fever, and all they wanted to talk about was like manga and anime. And I'm just like, if that's the only thing you know about Asian culture, like, I don't think we're going to be compatible. So I felt very kind of cornered in.
Yeah, this is a controversial one because, I did grow up, I know I don't talk about it much, but I did grow up with a Korean adopted sister. She was part of our life for a period of time. She's still a part of my life, but I'm just saying part of our family's life. And she never had a problem with guys asking her out. And that was before manga and whatever these things that you mentioned, because this was way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And when I first started getting to know other Korean adoptees, I noticed just having just organic conversations about dating, a lot of the girls didn't struggle with too much racism because a lot of the people around them wanted to date them because they're Asian girls.
But isn't that racism?
But the thing is at least I don't know if they considered, I don't even know if we had the term yellow fever. I don't know if that was something that I don't know when I got cognizant of even that term. But I noticed that for Korean adoptees that are men or boys versus Korean adoptees that are girls, I feel like it was definitely a disadvantage for guys growing up versus girls because of the, I guess, yellow fever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait. Can you say that one more time?
Like, I feel like with race and gender, especially growing up in the States, if you're of a minority Asian descent, at least in my myopic experience, Asian girls growing up in westernized situation tend to have an easier dating than Asian guys.
Oh, yes.
Westernized.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because they're kind of fetishized. Why am I having English language pronunciation?
These are hard words.
I've been in Korea too long. But these are not words I use very often, so that's good that I can't pronounce them. Yeah, they're fetishized. Fetishized. Yeah. So, but guys aren't.
No, but they're viewed as feminine. That's
Asian men.
Yeah, that's why white women don't want to date Asian men.
Okay. Maybe now, but not back in my day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Asian guys just were not the,
cool guys?
Yeah, they were not the people didn't consider Asian guys attractive or back or whatever. But because of like Korean dramas and K-pop and all that stuff, Koreans are, at least Korean guys are starting to get a little bit of like a reputation.
Yeah. But I think the general view of non-Asians is that Asian men are more feminine than
Is it because of like the makeup that Korean K-pop people wear? Is that what the association is?
I think it's like the standard of beauty because K-pop idols are like very pale. They're very groomed in a sense, like, you know, like the makeup, their hair is always perfect. They're very slim.
They're like metrosexual.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah, and like
the correct word to use.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's a problem with how people define masculinity too, because just because you're like a lumberjack doesn't mean you're more manly than a K-pop idol. But I did get that sense that people were like, oh, BTS looks like girls. And I'd be like, ooh, can we unpack that a little bit? Like, what do you mean by looks like a girl? Like, what are your preconceived notions about what is okay or not okay for men? Because that's so arbitrary, right?
Fortunately, Korean men are starting to not be like not fetishized, but they're starting to at least have a reputation of
being attractive.
You can be attractive.
Yeah.
You know, like, just because you have slanty eyes doesn't mean you're not attractive.
Oh, wow. Except many of them don't even have slanty eyes.
Well, that's the beauty of...
Because they get cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, which you didn't have to do.
Yeah, I didn't have to do.
Hannah, to just throw out a little disclaimer, Hannah's eyes are not normal for Korean eyes. She's got big eyes. Yeah. So, but they're very nice eyes. You have like the, whatever you call it.
쌍꺼풀.
Yeah. I don't have it. I've like got the OG, like, straight line eyes.
You have nice eyes too.
Yeah. So this is something that's, I've not been aware of too much, but I guess it's something that, is a thing with dating, but they call it like cacao bombing or text bombing, daily communication, obsessed.
Yeah, I think this is a Korean phenomenon, if that's the right term. But I've heard like actual people, not just on the media, but like I have friends who are like, oh, of course my boyfriend should respond within 10 minutes of me texting them. And of course they should be texting me every single day. And for me, that was like a shock.
Okay.
I don't want to do that with anyone. Or maybe I'm abnormal. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't think it's reasonable to expect someone to respond within 10 minutes. Like, what if you're doing something really important and you can't access your phone? Like, or what if you're grabbing a meal with someone and you want to be focused on the meal?
Yeah, and you don't want to be looking at your phone and disrespecting the relationship with the same person.
And I think that also, like, it makes you wonder, like, does the woman have trust issues? Because it's not usually the guy who wants to have such frequent, like, communication, which in itself is also a problem, right? Like the detached man, obsessed woman stereotype, that weird dynamic, which is pretty common. But I don't know. And then like there started to be like kind of a joke online where one girlfriend was like, I don't believe that my boyfriend is actually at 회식, like the company dinner. So she started being like, take a picture with 3 fingers. Because Koreans usually do like the V. And so she's like, I want to make sure it's not a picture from like weeks ago and you're just telling me that you're at this 회식. So take a picture with 3 fingers. And then she's like, I still don't believe you. Take a picture with a plate on your head.
Oh, so, and then with all the people around him. Oh my god.
So she started like giving him challenges that he couldn't like think of it. Yeah.
Wow.
And then that was just like a joke. But I wonder how much of that joke is actually based on fact.
Yeah, that's a little definitely obsessive. It's like borderline, what do you call it? Like, almost like stalker. Like, not stalker, but like...
Obsessive.
Definitely obsessive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unhealthy. Yeah, that would be a little scary.
But why do you think there is this in general, women are more clingy and men are a little more detached. Why? Or do you notice that around you?
Maybe it's the logical feeler side, where most men are more logical and women are more feelers. Mm-hmm. My wife is logical and I'm an F, so I'm actually the opposite.
Yeah.
So if anyone is a female, quote unquote, in the marriage, it's probably me. Yeah.
And that's not common in your social circle,
I'm
right?
like more affectionate with my wife, and she's less affectionate.
Yeah.
I'm more like romantic, and she's less romantic.
Yeah.
So so it's hard for me to like understand the majority of guys that are not like me. Yeah. But I'm like unapologetically like this. I don't it doesn't bother me to admit it. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I think guys are, because of just I'm not a psychologist or anything, so I can't really make...
But I don't even think it's cultural, right? I think
it's just
most cultures.
In most cultures, because of just the gender.
Yeah.
Whatever. However, the makeup of it all.
Have you ever worried about your safety when going on dates?
No, but that's like a guy thing, probably. Mm-hmm. As in safety, as in the other person's could be unsafe.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Or have you ever thought like, oh, I shouldn't act in this way where the other person might feel unsafe?
No. I mean, in terms of safety, I'm always looking and aware of my surroundings and not going to places that could be scary if I'm on a date, but I'm not thinking about me being scary to them or them being scary to me. Oh, but on the flip side, I could certainly see if the other person could be sketchy or they take you on a strange location for a date. Mm-hmm. I could see that could definitely be a fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Hannah? Has this happened to you?
I mean, as a woman, I think we're constantly aware of our safety, especially when meeting a strange man or a man you've connected with on a dating app. There's always like, you're worried. And so I think it's pretty common for girls to share their location with their friends and be like, hey, I'm going on a date from this time to this time. If you notice that my pin isn't moving, or like, can you just check in? Like, can you call me within an hour?
I like that.
And like give me an out in case. I think that's pretty common for girls in their 20s or 30s. Like, just having a friend who knows where you are.
Nick, you are doing this.
Yeah, right? I'm already doing this, but it's like kind of sad that guys aren't even thinking about this. And girls shouldn't have to think about these things, but
do you mean it's sad because guys aren't... Are you saying it's sad because girls could also be aggressive and dangerous? Or are you saying that guys need to be more cognizant of the fear a woman has?
It's sad that anyone has to be scared, right? No one should feel unsafe.
Sure.
Within a reasonable hour. Like if you're out at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., that's not wise.
Yeah.
But if you're like out to an evening dinner and you're just like trying to get to know someone, you shouldn't feel unsafe. But girls feel unsafe. That's why they share their location with their friends. And they're like, just make sure I call you within 2 hours. Yeah. But I went on a date with this guy who, he was really tall. He was like 6'1", 6'2". Okay, maybe not really tall. But for me, that felt really tall. And as soon as he met me, he was like, is it okay if I go in for a hug? And that was like plus 10 points, like plus 20, 34 points, because I felt really safe. That he wasn't.
Because he asked.
Yeah, instead of assuming that I'll be okay with getting a hug from him. And I think he was cognizant of the fact that he's much taller and I might feel intimidated on the first date. So like, guys, if you ever go on a first date, think about things that make the other person feel safe. Because you get like 200, 300 brownie points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gone is romantic. I'm just gonna kiss you without you knowing. Like we all see in the movies.
Oh, that could be either good if both sides
if
are
the
interested.
Chemistry is there, like the soulmate-ish chemistry.
Yeah, or horrible if like one side is misreading.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, that's funny.
Ugh.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not funny about the whole fear thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I remember when the whole genesis of online dating. I was working at the bank back in 2004, and Yahoo had a dating. It wasn't like they didn't have dating apps or websites, but Yahoo had this like bulletin board messaging thing that people would use as dating. So
I see.
We had this coworker, and she was like, I'm gonna go on this like online date. And all of us freaked out. We were like, what? Like,
that wasn't common.
Yeah, it wasn't common to like meet someone online and like actually go on a physical date.
Yeah.
So we were like really worried for her. We were like, what? Like,
she's so brave.
Yeah. And I mean, because it wasn't common either. Like now, I mean, you do it.
Yeah.
I actually, my old fashioned self, I get worried about you. But when that first came out like 20 years ago, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
you're taking a risk.
It seems like it's one of the main ways that you meet people. That you can meet people.
Post-COVID, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of like organic, like just organic.
It's coming back though.
You feel like people are embracing the old school
It's
way?
coming back. Because the dating apps are kind of like the same guys who nobody wants to date are still on the dating apps. So a lot of people are, now that there's no there's still COVID, but COVID's not a huge issue. I think
people are actually getting back out.
Yeah, they're like going back to hobbies and like in Korea, especially 동호회s are huge now. Like running club, you meet, but like people join running clubs to meet guys. Yeah.
Or soccer clubs.
No. My soccer club is all female.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Guys, what's wrong with you? Join these soccer clubs.
Oh, no, I intentionally joined all female league. Because we're similar level.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not co-ed?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. My volleyball team is co-ed.
Okay, well,
but nothing happened.
Oh. I guess that segues into just how we meet people.
Yeah, online dating. So that came later for you? Like, you knew of people. Do you know people who've gotten married through online dating? Same.
Yeah, the first time when we went to California in 2008, 2009, one of our church members met someone on, I don't know if some Christian website. It was a well-known Christian website at the time.
Is it Christian Mingle?
No.
eHarmony?
Might have been eHarmony. Something really big.
Yeah. I have a good number of friends who met on a dating app. And like, all the way from like Tinder, which is not known for stable relationships. It's more like a hookup app. But I know people who've met their spouse on Tinder, all the way to like the more serious ones like eHarmony or like Coffee Meets Bagel. I have a good handful of friends who've met on Coffee Meets Bagel. And the ironic thing is, like, they're literally one circle away from each other.
What do you mean by that?
Like, they grew up in similar neighborhoods, they have mutual friends, but they themselves have never met each other. And through this dating app, they were like paired, and they're like, wow, we have so much in common, and yet we never interacted.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I know a handful of couples who were like that. They were like both in DC, but somehow they never ran into each other, but they like ran in similar circles, and then this app paired them together, and they're like really, really compatible. So that was why I got into dating apps. I thought that could happen to me.
Okay, so...
Never did.
Okay, but some might have had potential?
No.
Was there any, like, good experience thus far?
No.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker.
Yeah, you're
I'm
the
opposite.
Heartbreaker. Yeah. A lot of guys' hearts are broken because of Hannah. Stay away from her.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, my wife's one of my wife's high school friends met someone on one of those websites, and they're happily married. They have 2 children.
Wow.
They're very compatible. Have you ever been on a set up blind date? Has anyone introduced you to?
Yeah.
Yeah?
A good number of times.
Okay, and those didn't work out either?
Nope. So nowadays, a lot of people don't want to do 소개팅, or like don't want to help set up 소개팅s because there is pressure. Because if it doesn't work out, you're kind of the mediator between the 2 parties, and you have to like.
Then yeah, it gets a little messy. Will they call that matchmakers? Is that what they call people who do that? Or cupids?
I don't know.
Well, I thought there was a term like if an older couple likes to get younger people together, they're like the matchmakers of the
I guess matchmakers. Okay. Yeah. But for me, sogetings really didn't work out, and I think the one that I regret the most is my parents set me up. And I thought that'd be the best because my mom knows me really well.
Yeah.
And like I also really value her judgment. And I was like, if you approve of him, like, I think that's great. This could be lead us to a marriage. But the problem is she knew the guy's uncle. So she didn't know him.
Okay. And she didn't know his parents at all. Either.
No. So she was using her acquaintance's like sort of reputation to assume that he was a quality guy.
Was this in Korea?
No, back in the States.
Oh, okay.
And then I mean, he wasn't a bad person. He was a very interesting person, and we just didn't mesh personality-wise. Or, like, also our conversation style just we weren't interested in the same things. And when I was like, oh, hey, like, thank you for introducing me to this person, but I don't think it's gonna work out, my parents were furious.
With you?
Yeah. They were like, do you know how hard it is to find someone who has such a good reputation and like comes from a family that we actually know, like we can verify that he's from a really good family. And they were like, give him another chance. And I had already been like talking to him for 3 months.
Oh,
way like past the 3. Or like we were doing like Zoom calls and stuff like that pretty frequently.
Was this during COVID?
No, but we were living in different states.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was like, I gave him more than enough chances.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's pretty evident that if we're not clicking by now, we're not meant to be.
But he must have been interested in you.
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was just kind of like, we'll see where it goes. But that's also why I was like, we're not compatible. Because for me, it's like, why waste my time? I don't want to see where it goes. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. But he was kind of like, oh, I don't see anything bad in like calling you. But yeah, that was like a huge fight between me and my parents. And then that's when I realized, oh, maybe getting sogeting from my parents is not a wise move.
Even thinking about, even personally for me, the guys I know right now in my life that I would maybe think about matchmaking with you.
You can't name one.
I can name a couple in my mind, but I don't know if you would like them. It seems Hannah's a bit, she's a tough cookie.
Problem.
She's a tough cookie.
I'm the problem.
So, sidebar.
Yeah.
Have you had like the puppy love where you were really infatuated with someone?
Yeah.
Okay. But did you ever date said person?
So we dated for like 3 months.
Okay.
I think the 3-month mark is...
Was this someone in Boston?
Yeah. This was the guy who was really tall and was like, is it okay if I give you a hug?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that first date, amazing. And I was like, I really, really like this guy. And I was like calling my friends immediately after the date. And I was like, I think I've met him. Like, I think he might be the one. But all the subsequent dates were like progressively less interesting. The first date was the most interesting.
That's probably why you shared that earlier with me.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like the expectation was so high and then it just went down.
Yeah. And then by the end, we had like kind of been like casually dating for like 3 months, but I think we went on like 6 dates in total over the course of 3 months. I later found out that he wasn't actually Christian yet. He like attended church, but there were things in the Bible that he couldn't really believe. And so he was kind of like, I would identify as a seeker. But it took 6 dates for me to...
Just for him to disclose it or for you to flesh it out?
For me to point blank ask him, what is your testimony? Because I was trying to be a little more tactful. And so I was like, what church do you go to? Oh, he goes to church. And then I'd be like, actually, that's not enough. What's your favorite worship song? And then I would like do all these tests.
Yeah, that's wise.
But then I was like, but just because you listen to Christian music and you go to church and you serve doesn't mean you actually know God. So maybe I should ask him for his testimony. And that's where he was like, actually, I don't really believe the Bible completely.
Yeah, that's a problem. And good on you for having a standard. I mean, that's not a high bar.
Yeah.
But these days it could
seems
be
like a high
considered
bar. Yeah. So now on my first date, I usually ask.
Yeah.
What's the most recent time that you've experienced God? And I know it's a little taboo because you're not supposed to go like super deep the first date, but I'm just kind of like,
why waste time?
I know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, if you're not on the same page, we could be doing 10, 20, 50 dates and we're still not going to go anywhere. So
I like it. I like your intentionality because I feel like it's like a given that you wouldn't even want to date someone that hasn't had an encounter and a relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
And at least for Hannah and myself, we don't think that's a high bar.
Yeah.
But these days it seems like that could be.
Yeah. And then I've also had guys who were so like insistent on wanting to date a Christian woman. But when I was like, but you're not Christian, so why are you looking for a Christian woman? His response was like, because you have a duty and an obligation to convert me. Because you're a Christian and you're like, you need to go like share the gospel.
Because they were hoping that they could be one day?
I guess so. Because
they were just being lackadaisical and they just needed a kick in their rear end?
I don't know. I was just so
weird.
Confused.
Yeah, I'm confused when you're telling me this.
But I've met a couple guys like that.
Oh, they want mommy to they want like a mama figure.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very interesting.
To tell them what to do.
So to all of them, I was like, that's the job of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That is not my
good
job.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on you. Yeah. All right. Hannah, I'm rooting for you. Man. Guys, what's wrong with you? Hannah's great.
Wow.
Seriously.
Oh.
Okay, so I guess that was your experience of a breakup.
Oh yeah. I'm usually the one to break up with the other person.
But you did break up with him though.
Yeah.
But it was like because you were like infatuated on the first date.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of like the puppy love feelings.
And no, it fizzled out by the end of the 3 months.
Mm.
I'm actually really like, I'm an all-in person. And if I see, actually this isn't going to work, I like pull out really fast.
My only thought process is that maybe because of that, you pulled out too fast.
But he wasn't Christian.
No, not him.
Oh.
Like even on your surface dates, you see a red flag and you pull out too quick. And you're like, eh.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
But most dates that don't work out are because they don't really have a personal relationship with God.
So you're fleshing this out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So the guy the tall, cute guy.
This is what all girls want, is tall and cute.
He's tall, cute, and smart.
Thank goodness Hyojin could look past this looking short guy in me, because I got fortunate that she looked past my deficiencies in my vertical limit.
But the tall, cute guy, I was also not tactful because he was the first guy I broke up with. So we watched a movie together, and then he was like, hey, you want to grab something really quickly from McDonald's? And I was like, oh, sure, okay.
Okay.
And then I was like, by the way, thanks for telling me where you are in your faith, but after I've thought about it, I don't think this is going to work out.
Before you got to McDonald's?
No, at McDonald's.
Oh, at McDonald's. Okay.
Like, he's like eating his burger and I'm just like telling
him. Like enjoying the meal until he's like, I'm not hungry.
Yeah, and then I was like...
wait until he finished eating.
I know, but it was my first time breaking up with someone, and then I was like, but I would still love to be friends, because we didn't, like, we were just still getting to know each other. It wasn't like we had been dating for a year. It'd only been like 3 months, right? So I was like, we can still be friends, right? And like, he was like, no. And he was like, can you stay here for 10 minutes so that I can go on the subway and get home and not run into you again? And I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Whoa, that's some vitriol.
And then so he left. And then another guy got really mad.
See, I don't like that.
Yeah.
The fact that he got so mad and like disrespected you almost in a way, I'm glad that you didn't end up with him, because that's some like very myopic, selfish emotion coming from that type of person.
I mean, I can get that you get upset because you thought we were on the same page and it turns out I'm not on the same page. But he was like, oh, when are you going to go back on the dating apps? Because we met on a dating app. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not planning for that. Probably.
The fact that he would even inquire is inappropriate.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, you shouldn't go on for another 3 months because I'm not going to go on for 3 months. And I was like,
oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Bye.
You made the right decision.
So it's like things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what about you, Adam? Wait, I love the little comment that Adam wrote. He wrote, 2 months mourned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what are your breakup stories?
Well, I went into most of my relationships hoping that it would turn out to be something. So, the one that my worst breakup was the 2 months mourned is a Korean adoptee that I had met. We went to, remember I told you that I went to Korea for a month?
Yeah.
That's where we started dating. Of
course. Of course. That's how it happens.
Yeah. When you're like away from life and like yeah. But she was a year and a half older than me, which is strange because at that time in the mid-90s, it was very odd for a man to be dating someone older than him.
Oh, really?
To be the same age, sure. To be younger, sure. But I was going into university at 22. She was done with university and had a career.
I see. So different stages of life.
Yeah, completely different stages of life. And she was a year and a half older than me. So this was kind of weird for me to like someone at that level.
Yeah.
But after we had broken up, not we, she broke up with me. I'll make that clear.
Get the facts straight.
Yeah, I was like in a breakup depression.
Oh.
No, I experienced real depression later on. It's not the same.
Oh.
But from my perspective, at that time, it felt like depression.
Wait, can I ask a question? Did you see it coming? Were there signs? Or were you so oblivious that there were no signs? Or was she really not showing it?
In hindsight, when we connected, she was in the process of knowing that the relationship she was in wasn't a good one. So I guess I was a rebound relationship.
Oh, I see.
And she was away from said person, not in that environment.
I see.
But I thought for sure she was the one.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, I thought for sure. Yeah. And yeah, it was tough. But then like one day I woke up. I was like, oh my gosh.
Really?
I'm not sad anymore.
Like a flip of a switch?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe it helped that there was a cute Japanese girl. And I soon went on a date with her.
Wait, there's a saying in Korean. 사랑은 사랑으로 잊는다고, so you forget love through a new love.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a follow-up question. We kind of missed this from the previous section. Have you ever met someone through like a spontaneous encounter and ended up dating them?
No, but I had a girl when I was working at the bank. I was married already. Who?
What?
She was one of my customers. And then I ran into her at the grocery store outside of the bank.
Oh, okay.
In the evening time.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, like, do you wanna... Oh, I wasn't married. I was dating. I was dating Hyojin at the time.
Okay.
So I wasn't married. She's like, I told Hyojin this, so she already knows this. Nothing that I'm saying she doesn't know.
Yeah.
She was like,
she's gonna roll her eyes though.
Do you want to, I'm going up to Seattle with a bunch of friends. I would love if you wanted to come with me.
Oh, that's bold.
Yeah.
She's bold.
Yeah. And she knew my age. At the time I was 32.
How old was she?
She was 20.
What?
She knew my age because we've joked about it at the bank, like, oh, we're both ox. We're both from the year of the ox.
Oh my God.
It was technically a spontaneous. I ran into her.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was like really flattered, but I'm like...
I have a girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm like basically betrothed already.
I'm courting a young lady.
But that's my only like real spontaneous.
I see.
Where a girl was like outright like wanting to go out with me.
I see.
Which was really, really funny.
Oh.
But how about you?
Never.
Really? No guy just came up and been like, hey, cute thing?
Nope. I mean, if he did, I probably like... So I think guys knew. Don't approach that.
So you've never had like a smooth talking guy like just try to make inroads with you? No one had game with you?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm also very guarded.
Do you feel like you're a little unapproachable for guys?
Yeah. To anyone. Really? Even girls.
It's interesting because when I first met you, I didn't feel that from you. But now that I've gotten to know you, I see the edgy side of Hannah. And I could see where other people would perceive that.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't perceive that from you at all.
I'm so thankful because that's how we
Yeah.
are here doing this podcast.
Had I not grabbed you and said hi to you and forced you to meet my wife.
Yeah, yeah. But I hear, especially from Koreans, they say I'm very kisse. And kisse, kind of scary. It means like your aura is like aura or chi is really strong.
And it could be a good thing or a bad thing?
In women, it's usually not a good thing. Yeah. So based on Korean standards, I'm very intimidating.
Because like the stereotype Korean girls like cutesy and like approachable and they're kind of like
I'm not demure.
But you don't see there are some like women that I'll meet that they just don't have a nice looking face. Their resting face looks mean.
RBF.
But you don't have a mean resting face.
I don't, but I think I'm unapproachable. In some ways.
And you're unapproachable maybe by the way you hold yourself as people get to be around you, but your face is not unapproachable. Like when I first met you, I'm like, oh, she looks like a nice person.
Yeah. But I think being a teacher for 7 years also changed me. Because you have to be approachable. You have to be the one to like initiate conversations and do small talk. Oh. So I think the version of myself I'm thinking of is my college self. That's a little unapproachable, doesn't know how to do small talk. The one that Yeon met and didn't like.
Okay. Yeah,
but I think the person I am now is a little different in new spaces.
Yeah, because you've gained new skills.
Yeah, definitely.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, had I never served the church and forced myself to be extroverted, I would not be have the semi-social intelligence that I have.
No, not semi. You have very high EQ.
Yeah, but it's only because of having to be outside of myself and not in.
And being in banking, right?
Yeah, banking too. You have to meet people. You have to talk to people. So both of them. I when I worked in retail banking, it was like very oddly very similar to ministry because you're literally trying to get someone to believe in your banking product. So Hannah, this is a good question because you're much more experienced because I never dated when I was in Korea, obviously. But how is dating in the US versus Korea different? And also when you were in your 20s versus in your 30s?
Yeah, this has been really interesting. And I can't say that I'm a expert at dating in Korea because I've only gone on like 4 or 5 dates in the past like 10 months. But it's hard in either country.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say, especially the more educated you are and the more serious you are about your career, I think it's really hard.
For both people?
For both countries.
Okay.
For both countries.
Okay.
And maybe it's like my Instagram algorithm just playing to my needs, but I'm seeing a lot of women in their 20s and 30s who are like, I'm not settling. And they like talk about why they're not settling. So it seems like there's a lot of people out there who feel the same sort of pressure, right? Like we want to find a family, but we don't want to settle with a partner who is not going to be like a supportive partner. Like I don't want to replicate my parents' marriage because they're more traditional. My mom like did a lot of the house chores. She was the main parent. My dad was always outside working. And I think women in my generation are like, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We want someone who's going to be hands-on with everything. We want a real partner. But I think that's hard to find, unfortunately. And then you add the Christian part, even harder to find.
Yeah, because then you went from one pool to even the smaller pool.
Yeah. And then you also think about like compatibility because I want to meet someone with a high EQ. Not as easy to find. Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's for guys, especially. It has to be developed, and not many guys have the opportunity to develop it.
And I just also want to say they're also like, it's not out of choice. That's sort of how society has raised them, right?
Yeah.
Don't feel like, wait, where's that from? Don't feel, conceal. Frozen!
Oh.
Sorry.
I think my wife wanted me to watch Frozen, and like, after it came out of the movie theater, I think I fell asleep to it.
No!
Something about Let It Go.
Yeah! I love that movie. But anyway, yeah, so I think dating has been hard in either country. But what's interesting is in the US, most guys are already taken by 30.
Okay, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a legit thing.
Yeah, legit things, especially within Christian circles. Many of the eligible guys are like taken in their mid-20s. Mid-20s, late 20s. And so a lot of my friends in the States are married. And then now people like 5-6 years younger than me are getting married.
Okay.
So the pool was very, very small. And then in Korea, I was like, oh, everyone here is Korean, so it should be easier. And then I come to Korea, and then I find out that men in their 30s don't want to date.
Wait, why?
It's so fascinating.
Understand.
Because
they don't want to get married?
They don't need to get married until they're 40.
Oh, so they're just postponing it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm in the right age to find someone.
Okay.
But the men in my age group are not ready to get married, nor are they interested in getting married, nor do their parents like put pressure on them to get married.
So you just gotta wait another 10 years.
Oh my God. So it's been harder. So there's a lot of guys in their 30s, but there's not that many guys who want to date for marriage. And then there are guys in their 40s who are ready to settle down. But I'm just kind of like, why would I marry a 40-something-year-old man?
Yeah, if you put yourself out there on the dating apps that you'd be willing to go 10 to 15 years older, you get plenty of guys.
But I don't want to marry someone 15 years older.
I'm just saying, for those 40-year-old men in Korea right now, to have a young thing.
I think that's so creepy. Like, why are you intentionally looking for someone so young? Like,
but do you?
That's so weird.
I mean, okay. I'm not saying that guy is a creep, but I mean, I'm almost 9 years older than my wife, and you've seen our marriage, we get along really well.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes age can be just a number,
Sometimes. But in Korea, it's kind of a privilege for the guys. Because they don't have any, like, biological clocks, right?
Sure.
So they're like, let me live my life, use money as I want to.
I want to settle down.
And then I'm 40, 42. Now I'm kind of ready for a family. Now I'm ready to settle down, and I'm just going to find a woman who's, like, nervous about her biological clock. Mm. So I think that kind of attitude, like, irks me.
So you feel like that type of person already might be selfish?
Yeah.
But what if it's just a person that was maybe really busy and passionate about their career, and now they're like, okay, now I can be selfless and think. I mean, there has to be people like that.
I'm sure, but so far I haven't really opened myself up to people who are over 39.
Hey, that young girl that knew I was 12 years older was fine.
That's weird. That's weird. And then another thing I noticed is, like, in the US, and I very specific to Boston, dating culture is very fluid. And so there's no set date course. Like, there's no set time you have to meet. There's no set, like...
You mean no tradition?
Tradition as in, like, oh, we have to eat lunch and then we go to a cafe and then we take pictures. Like, there's no, like...
But in Korea, there is.
But in Korea, it's pretty standardized.
That's true.
In a sense. But I think maybe that's just the country itself, right? Korea is... They like processes and, like, everyone does the same thing. Everyone buys the same thing. But on the 4 dates that I've gone with different Korean men in their late 30s, they were very rigid in being like, I will choose the location for the restaurant. I will make the reservation. We will talk about X, Y, Z things. After this, we have to go to a cafe and, like, we have to meet on this day. And they're like very strict.
Some girls like that.
Yeah.
So I think Korean girls probably have experienced girls liking that more.
Yeah. And they were trained to kind of do that. I don't know, but to me, it felt a little stifling. Like, what if I'm the type that likes to do active things on a date? Like kayaking. Like, that was one of my dates. We went kayaking, and so it was kind of like
Let's score for him.
Yeah. Actually, I think I suggested it.
Oh.
Plus points for me. But, like, I don't know. I liked, because if there's no conversation, you can do other things. You're like, oh, look at that. And, like, there's things to talk about. You don't have to talk about each other. So there's, like, less pressure. Or, like, I think I went to, like, a escape room once. Oh. That was fun, too. You get to see them in a different light.
Korean.
American. Korean American.
Oh, Korean American. So some of these dates in Korea were with Korean Americans?
Only with Korean or Chinese Americans.
Oh, Chinese American?
Yeah, I don't think I've gone on.
You never went on a Korean?
No.
But these guys had lived in Korea enough to know the protocol, you mean?
Oh, wait, sorry. Are we talking about the States or in Korea?
Oh, I was talking about Korea.
Oh, in Korea, I've gone on dates with Koreans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're flipping it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
In Korea, I've gone on dates with Koreans or guys who, like, worked abroad, but their whole education was in Korea. So they're basically Koreans, right?
That would be tough. I would find that for you, unless you really, like your friend Yeon.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Korean, but he seems pretty open-minded.
Yeah.
So maybe if you were going to move forward, you would have to meet someone that's more open-minded and progressive in that way.
I don't think so.
So, but you've given Korean a chance.
Yeah.
And now you're feeling like you don't think so.
Because they were quote unquote open-minded. Because they were like open to immigrating to a different country. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So in that case, they're, like, technically open. But my problem with them was, like, they couldn't understand that we had a cultural gap.
Sure.
So when I was like, oh, this is actually, like, pretty new for me. I haven't really gone on dates with people who grew up in Korea. They'd be like, what's so different about us?
Yeah, they just don't have that perspective.
Yeah, and so I'd be like, you may be open in certain ways, but the fact that you can't even understand that we have a cultural gap and that I can't always share everything with you and you're not going to understand everything about me, just the fact that they couldn't acknowledge that was a big turnoff.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah, and so to me in general, Korean guys felt a little inflexible.
Okay.
Like the date has to look a certain way. Like, you and I are the same culture because we speak Korean. I don't feel a difference between you and me. And like, I was just like, you don't seem as flexible. And maybe it's also the age because they're 38, 39. So they're a little more set in their lifestyle and their patterns. And another thing I noticed is they always ask what I eat. It's like, hi, how are you? What did you eat for lunch today?
A Korean guy thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
that's odd. In the States, if I'm going out with someone, I wouldn't be like, so what did you eat earlier today? Like, what does that pertain to anything?
I know. So I asked Yeun, I was like, is this normal? Or is this how you know that someone's an awkward guy on a dating app? And she's like, no, most Korean guys, like, that's how they, like, start combos.
Okay.
But, how do you respond to that?
Maybe if you say, like, kimchi jjigae, they would be like, oh, that's my favorite. My mom makes a really good kimchi jjigae. So they're looking for ways to, like, get into a conversation where there's a like-minded common denominator.
Yeah, maybe. But you know how, like, Korea's infatuated with MBTI? I really think Korea as a country is a ISTJ. They're very literal. They're analytical and they're planners. And I don't think I mesh well with that. Because I'm not very literal. I don't really care what you ate. I'm more interested in, like, what are you thinking?
So I mean, you would want to marry an F.
Yeah. An NF.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm a big F.
Yeah.
But I get along fine with a T.
Yeah. But I think it's what comes before. Hyojin's an NT, right?
INTJ.
Yeah, she's an NT.
So
she's not literal.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, with Korean guys, I'd be like, oh, how did you choose your career? And they'd be like, oh, someone introduced me to this person and that's how I found myself in this industry. And I'm just like, anything else? And there's nothing. Or like, how did you end up going to this church? What's the story behind attending this church? Oh, I've attended because it's close to home. And so our conversations are stilted.
Man, Hannah, it's rough for you. Man, my heart is like aching for you. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Oh. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I just wish I knew the perfect person. Then I would I would have to play Cupid, but then you'd start hating me like, why did you introduce me to this person? They're horrible. Why would you think I would like them? Give them a chance. Give them like 3 years. He'll come
3
around.
years?
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Because you need someone intellectually stimulating, for sure. Like you can't just have someone that isn't able to hang with you on deep conversations.
Yeah. I like people who ask the why.
Yeah. That's what I appreciate. Even though Hyojin's a T, like she can definitely hang with deep conversations. So I feel like you just need emotionally EQ or
high EQ.
You just need a high EQ guy. Yeah. Okay.
That's me. Moving on.
We'll keep looking.
Moving on to a success story of Adam.
Yeah.
What is your dating/marriage story? And guys, this is pretty good.
Yeah, for my wife and I, it was a match made in heaven.
End of story.
Yeah. And they lived happily ever after. Fortunately, one of my sisters, she met her husband in a bar.
Oh!
Another of my sisters met her husband when he walked into her clinic and she was a radiologist.
Oh, wow.
So I was always curious, like how would I meet my future wife?
Yeah.
And the good wholesome story is I met her at church. I was serving as a youth pastor, and she was going to college. So when I moved to this church, I was already in ministry, but we kind of had a church split. So I went to this other church, and then a lot of people followed us to that church. And then she was already in college, so I met her mom and her brother and made relationships with them. I wanted to hug her little brother and stuff.
Even he was in your youth group.
No, he was a children's little child.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in like first, second grade.
Oh.
So I'd be like, "Hey, little Daniel," and he's like, "Hi, Anna," and he'd be like, "My sister's coming from college." I'm like, "Oh,
sorry, Daniel."
He had a really high voice. He's a tenor as a singer, so his voice is really high. And so I would hear about his sister.
Sorry, just for our listeners, youth group is what age to what age?
Youth group was from 7th grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
But she was already in school.
In college.
In college. So I hadn't even met her. I just heard about her. And then she came the first Christmas, and I had a bunch of college kids that were part of my ministry from my other church, and they all started coming to this church. So we had a lot of college students, and she knew some of them because Oregon's a small thing. But I knew that she was coming, so I wrote personal Christmas letters to everyone. Then I knew that Daniel's older sister was coming, and here I am handing out Christmas cards to all these people, and then she would be at the service, and I'm like, okay, her name is Hyojin. I'll write a Christmas card.
Well, that's so nice.
So I wrote a Christmas card. I don't know you, but I just want to welcome you.
I don't know you.
And I said something like that, right? And I guess I made a good impression.
Oh, of course.
She was like, "Oh, wow, that was really thoughtful of this youth pastor." And little did I know that she had a weakness towards guys that played the guitar.
Oh.
So I was playing the guitar and stuff and praising, and I guess she liked it, but nothing came to fruition. I mean, I met her in Christmas of 1999.
I see.
And then she came home in the summer of 2000. And then she helped out with our big retreat. I had a bunch of college students, so I asked her to be one of the counselors. And she was pretty introverted, so I paired her up with a really extroverted, fun guy. Because he's like a really good guy. And so I was like, okay, she's introverted, but he'll balance it out. And then I started seeing like, wow, she's a really good-hearted person.
Oh.
And I remember like talking to one of my college students who was lamenting like he doesn't have a girlfriend. I remember telling him, like, have you ever considered someone like Hyojin?
So you tried to set her up with someone else?
No, but I was just telling him, like, I was like, because, he's lamenting, like, there aren't any good girls.
Oh, and you're like...
Hyojin has a very, like, good aura.
Yeah, good aura.
Good aura. 100 aura or whatever. And so she had really good aura, and I'm like, yeah, she's a really good person. Of course, never thinking that she would be a possibility for me. But then, over time, she came back another Christmas, and she was helping me out with writing a grant for our youth ministry because we didn't have much money. And so then we started kind of getting to know each other over time, and over a lot of prayer and a lot of persistence. And it took a while for me to finally get the blessing.
Like how long?
It took a hot minute,
as
the young people say.
Okay.
After that duration of time, I did get the blessing.
Oh, okay.
And we had an amazing marriage. The whole church, all the ajumas, all the Korean women helped make the food. We kept the cost of the wedding down. We used the church as a venue, so we didn't have to pay for a venue.
Nice.
And it was amazing.
Wait, you're missing a key detail. You gotta tell us about the calls and the emails.
I actually have all our email messages that we had back and forth, and then...
But the email to your friend, when you said you knew Hyojin's the one, like so early on.
I knew, like, with a complete shadow of doubt that she was the one.
Wow, that's so cool.
I had to win the mother-in-law's blessing. Hyojin's father passed away when she was a child, when she was just a couple months old, or even just a month old. It makes sense. You know, she didn't have both parents. The mother really wanted to protect her daughter. And I proved my loyalty and love towards her daughter. Got the blessing. Now, looking back at it, I'm surprised that I knew that I was that confident.
Can we unpack that? Like, what do you mean you knew? Like,
oh yeah, like just her godliness was a huge factor.
Okay.
I remember when I started getting to know her, I could just tell that her knowledge of God and her knowledge of just her testimony and just how she presented herself, you could tell that she was a woman of God, you know, a young lady of God. I remember, like, even when I was preaching to the youth group, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope like she doesn't think I'm like really horrible, like youth pastor, like, oh my gosh, his messages are really bad or something. Right. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, but fortunately that wasn't the case.
But was it like a feeling, a dream? Like, I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Or you thought you could picture a life with her. Like, what, how did you know?
Yeah, I wish it was something that I could articulate clearly. She also came kind of from a broken situation, having lost her father and growing up without a father. I grew up really technically without a father twice over, not being adopted and etc. So we kind of had that understanding that we both didn't grow up with we kind of grew up in a broken home. I could see how much love she had for her mom, how much love she had for her brother, and you could see the nurturing, loving side of her.
I see.
And I was like, wow. It's like, it wasn't something normative that you would find in someone. But because of the painful circumstances of her life made her a much more compassionate and sympathetic person.
Yeah.
So it just really drew me towards her in that sense. And then, like, when we noticed that just conversation there was never awkward moments ever. Like, even to this day, we have to force ourselves to go to sleep. Okay, we have to go to sleep. Let's not happen. Like, babe, you cannot stay up any later. Like, cause we go to sleep really early. Yeah. So it's like, babe, it's like 9 o'clock. You should be sleeping. We should have been sleeping like a half an hour ago. Go to sleep. But we love talking to each other. But yeah.
So she actually is your, like, best friend.
Oh yeah. Yeah. During COVID, I used to have this mantra I'd tell my wife, babe, if we were just the only two people on an island in the world, I would be happy. She's like, whatever. So COVID happened. And we were basically like two people on an island. Yeah. And like, babe, see?
And
like, we think about our relationship during COVID. Yes, COVID was horrible. Lots of bad things happened. But our personal relationship, we had been married already for over a decade. But during that time of COVID, selfishly, I really liked it. Because we were so, like, living life so close. We were just like, it was just her and I. We'd go, like, on bicycle trips, hiking trips. Like, it was amazing.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Marriage goals right there.
Yeah. I feel like because I waited for so long, that it's something that I wanted so much that God was like, okay, you waited long enough.
God, have I waited long enough?
So I tell this story to people who aren't married, and so Hannah's heard this story.
Yeah.
But I had 3 relationships in Bible college. None of them worked. By my senior year, I was 25. And I was kind of done dating. And I'm like, you know what?
Done trying.
I'm just going to focus on my youth ministry that God gave me at the time. I'm going to focus on finishing out school.
Yeah. I'm
just going to put God first.
Amen.
Yeah. So I put him first. By the 3rd, 4th year, I'm now 28. And my friends who are now, a lot of them were married. They were like, Adam, we know how much you want to get married. What are you doing? Like, I'm doing nothing. They're like, what? Like, you gotta meet God halfway. You gotta, like, get out there.
Put an effort.
I'm just a youth pastor at a small little church. It's not like I'm part of this big dynamic college fellowship, young adult fellowship. So I'm like, look, if I'm meant to be single, I'm meant to be single. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to put God first. And then Hyojin just popped up into my life.
At that tiny church.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it was like God realized, okay, it was almost like I'm not putting myself at Abraham's level of faith, but I'm not that stupid. But it was like God was testing me, like, are you going to sacrifice your relationship on the altar?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I will.
Will I be Lord over your heart, over any idol?
I literally was accepting the fact that I could be celibate.
Yeah. Wow.
Even though all my life I wanted. You see me. I'm a huge, like, I love having a wife and love her. Yeah. I was like, I'll just give it up.
That's amazing.
So then it was like, I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. It's not that he's given me everything. I could go into a whole diatribe of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My closing question for both of us is, what does a successful relationship look like to you? I am recently realizing how important kindness is. I don't think I thought about it. I thought it was more about like trust, and trust definitely is a big thing. But I think the older I get, I think kindness is essential for just any relationship. Like, are you willing to... And I think that ties into selfishness, right? If you are kind, it's harder for you to be selfish or like stubborn or inflexible. So I think kindness is huge for me. And then number 2 is like trust. Like, can you trust the other person with the ugliest sides of you? And if they can't handle that, then they're not going to be able to handle marriage. They're going to leave the minute something doesn't go well. But, you know, life, always, there's something always like going wrong. And then I think the last one is like a willingness to work on things. Like I said before, I don't think anyone is 100% compatible. So when something goes wrong, like, how do you work through the conflict? I think is really important. So those are the 3 things I look for when I'm dating.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. Well said. I don't know if I can top it.
Okay.
Well, being in a relationship for almost 18 years and knowing her for all these years, dynamically, like, our relationship just continues to grow. I guess we're watering it. We make efforts. Yeah. Like, we make intentional, like, date days. Yeah. To just foster that time. In the book of Mark that our pastor is going to preach on is about the Sadducees not believing in they were approaching Jesus and challenging him, like, so a woman got married and then married and he died, got married and he died, married.
Whose wife is she?
And then it's like, who's she going to be married to whenever she actually gets to heaven? She's like, well, there's not going to be any marriage in heaven. Right? And I'm like, wait.
Oh. You're going to be married to Hyojin.
Like, I don't know how this all theologically, you know, everyone has their own interpretation of what heaven's going to be like. Yeah. But some people, I've heard people say, like, oh, when you get to heaven, she'll just be like someone that, oh, I remember you. You were a part of my life, but
somebody that I used to know.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would break my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if that's what heaven's going to be, like, I almost don't want to die.
Oh.
So, yeah, I would, like, really, really, it almost makes me want to cry.
Oh.
So, like, God has to make sure that Hyojin's still my wife, you know? So, like, yeah, I mean, I know heaven, there's not going to be any more tear, no more pain, but man, I've got to be married to Hyojin. Oh my God. That's so, I can't express it, but that's, yeah, there's just no way. Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Wow. Adam! That's so beautiful.
Yeah, so heaven better be a place that married couples stay married. Here's the thing though, on the flip side, I know a loving family who's married and the wife is like, get me to heaven soon, because I'm done with this relationship with him.
I've suffered long enough.
Yeah. So if God, you get to heaven, they're like, oh, you're going to be living with your husband in heaven. She's going to be like, what? Yeah. So I think God will figure it all out for us.
Yeah. We don't have to think about that. That's for a different time, different place.
Funny. This was really long, but if you have actually listened to it at this point, you guys are amazing. Actually, you know what would be perfect? What? If you listen to this all the way through, at least on YouTube comments, put real one. Type real one.
Okay.
So if we see real one on the YouTube comments on this video, that means they listened to it to this point. So you guys are
your secret code.
Anyways, yeah, this was fun. And if you guys know of a godly man that comes with God, that has high EQ, emotional EQ, you're gonna have to
embarrassed.
HMU, hit us up, man. But yeah, she's a keeper. Anyways, thank you all so much for checking us out. Of course, we are on the major platforms for podcasting. Also, YouTube is the best way to get our content. But yeah, stay safe out there, guys. This was really fun. We've got other topics that we are planning out for the year, more guests. So it's very exciting to have our platform.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, in the meantime, you all, God bless. Peace!
Bye.